Hello everyone, I welcome you all on this YouTube channel UPSC Logi. This is me Rahul, and today we are going to cover The Hindu for your public administration optional dated 20th of December and 21st of December 2021. We are going to cover these two newspapers. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. You can also join the Telegram channel and group for the public administration current affair magazine. So let's get started. So the first important article and the only important article on the 20th December was on your editorial page, and it was the column regarding the age and marriage. So recently, as you must be aware about this initiative of the government, or this step by the government, where the minimum age for the female is going to be increased from 18 to 21. So basically this is what you have to understand from your public policy point of view, because this is something that is very important, public policy. Apart from that, this article is also relevant for your development administration, because in development administration women and development is one of the subtopic, and that's why in the previous years also the questions, the steps of government, or you can say the self-help group, etc., the women empowerment angle is something where UPSC has asked the question. So that's why you have to understand the gravity of this issue. You need to understand the pros and cons. You need to have that idea that how it is going to help, and what are the issues or challenges insofar as the implementation of this initiative is concerned. So you have to cover these articles. For example, here in this article, the article is talking about the thing that focus must be on creating the social awareness about the women reproductive health and rights. So basically the article is saying that instead of providing the increasing the legal age per se, what is the need of the hour is to bring the kind of social awareness. Focus should be on the root cause and the root issues. Okay, otherwise what will happen, that Woodrow Wilson idea came into picture. What Woodrow Wilson used to say when it comes to policy implementation, he used to say that it is easier to write the constitution than to implement the one. Same goes with the laws and policies of the government of all the countries, because it is easier to make the laws, it is easier to formulate the public policy per se, but when it comes to implementation, it is really difficult because of different reasons. So that's why we need to bring that idea of Woodrow Wilson into picture. We need to understand that policy implementation is not an easy task, and if we want to bring the change, we have to start from the root cause. Okay, so other root cause are there. For example, the focus should be on, like, on the first, on the one hand, you can say that yes, this is the good you can say initiative or something like that, because ultimately the age is going to play an important factor, not only for the women but also the upcoming generation, because malnutrition is something, malnutrition, global hunger index, all those things suggest that in India the problem lies with this. You can say one of the reason is the early marriage of the girl child, and if you go about the facts, as per the NFHS 2019-20, 23.3% of the women are still, you can say, their age, the marriage is happening before the age of 18 years. So that is the problem, because the laws are not implemented. Already we have the prohibition of Child Marriage Act 2006, but the implementation is missing. And here also you can read the things. Okay, I am not going to delineate the thing, just try to understand that Woodrow Wilson idea of policy implementation is there. And similarly, women and development, you need to bring that Mohit Bhattacharya chapter, like what the different thinkers like this Strivers and others were talking when it comes to public administration and women in public administration. Similarly, women in development, women and development, gender and development, post development and women, all these aspects you need to read from your Mohit Bhattacharya. And if you are the subscriber of the magazine, in the previous months we have covered this thing, that how can you link the different thinkers and theories with this idea of women and idea of women in administration per se. Otherwise you can read the Mohit Bhattacharya as well. This is it from this article, and apart from that, the other articles we are going to cover from the another newspaper of The Hindu dated 21st of December 2021. In the newspaper of 21st of December, the first important article that you need to read is given on your page number 1. Lok Sabha passes bill to link electoral rolls with the Aadhaar. So basically the government is going to link the Aadhaar with the idea of you can say electoral rolls. So as of now there is no linking, and that's why there are problems of duplication of votes. For example, a person belongs to place X, hometown is in place X, but he is living in place Y. Then let's say if even if elections are happening on different phases, then what happened, the same person could the person could cast the vote twice if there is a gap between that kind of you can say phases of the election. All these things are happening in the ground level, and that's why we need to link Aadhaar so that the duplication of voting and other aspects can be countered. This is the first argument in favor. Similarly, if you read these arguments on this screen itself, you will be able to get some argument in favor and some arguments against. For example, the minister, he is saying that the opposition has not understood the objective of the bill, and it will make the election process more credible, more transparent, more you can say there will be a kind of, there is a Supreme Court judgment as well. So that's why we need to bring in this kind of things as a matter of electoral reform. This is something that we need to bring as a matter of reform. On the other hand, arguments against, so you can read the argument by the Congress leader Shashi Tharoor ji. Here he is saying Aadhaar is not a proof of citizenship, and by linking it with the electoral process, we are potentially giving the voting right to the non-citizen. So ultimately Aadhaar is not the proof of citizenship, and that's why if we are linking Aadhaar with the citizenship, like if we are linking Aadhaar with the voting, we are linking something that is not for citizenship with the voting which is related to citizenship. Okay, so that's how you can write it. You can use it as one of the major point in your arguments against this linking, etc. And apart from that, the another thing is the, you can say the tiering hurry. Okay, so that is also the thing, because the leaders are saying that it should go to the committees, etc., like parliamentary committee. We have the data, like in the previous Lok Sabha, the number of bill moved to this parliamentary committee was reduced, and that's why, and this is reducing year on year basis. Okay, in the previous UPA first it was 60%, in UPA second it was 71%. okay, 71% of the bill went to the parliamentary committee for the scrutiny, etc. and in the NDA first, in the 2014 to 2019 wali government, it was reduced to 25% or something like that, and that's why there are concerns insofar as the accountability is concerned. And in the previous videos and in the previous magazines itself, we have covered that how parliamentary committees are important, because parliamentary committees are something that brings that economy, efficiency, effectiveness insofar as the public policy is concerned. And even the conflicts, the kind of conflict that originate in the bill, they become more substantive rather than affective. What are the substantive and affective conflict? Likert was talking about this thing. Affective are something that are related to your emotions, and those conflict are not easy to resolve, but substantive can be resolved. So that theory is something that we have covered in the previous videos itself, so I'm not going into it. Just try to understand the arguments favor, arguments against, and electoral reform is something that is the part of your syllabus under the value premises, and under the, you can say, union government administration is some in all those aspects you can cover this article. So this is the first article that you need to refer. The second article that you need to refer is given on your on this op-ed page. So this article is saying sustained attack on federalism, and this article is specifically talking about fiscal federalism. Okay, so what you have to understand that in the previous editions of PowerPedia magazine, PowerPedia Current Affair magazine, we have covered that how different issues are in the current affairs, in the contemporary knowledge insofar as the federalism federalism in general is concerned. But here this article is talking about one type of federalism, that is fiscal federalism, and how different issues are basically engulfing when it comes to the idea of fiscal federalism. You need to aware about these things. Similarly, in federalism we have covered that how the NEET issue is going on. Similarly, BSF jurisdiction issue was one of the major issue. Apart from that, insofar as the federalism is concerned, different laws were there. For example, citizenship amendment was in the picture. Similarly, farm laws were there, and they were also basically creating the trouble insofar as the federalism is concerned. Similarly, National Capital Territory of Delhi Act, that law basically says that government of Delhi basically means the LG of Delhi. So that is against the idea of that is against the idea of federalism to some extent. Similarly, other aspects we have covered in the previous editions, okay, on the day-to-day basis, and in the magazine also we have covered all the issues, and also we have covered different keywords insofar as the federalism is concerned, like competitive federalism, like collaborative federalism, combative federalism, asymmetric federalism, principled federalism is something that articles of the Hindu newspaper was suggesting. So what is principled federalism? Okay, similarly we have competitive is there, and apart from that one is the this idea of a competitive federalism is there. Similarly, collaborative is there, and different federalism is there. I am unable to recall all the federalism. We have covered these things in the form of the diagrams, etc. Here what we have to cover is the fiscal federalism. What are the issues insofar as the fiscal federalism is concerned? And here you can see all the issues, and just try to mug up these issues. These manifested in increasing, for example, first of all, if you notice the centrally sponsored scheme on the name of rationalization, what government is doing, government is increasing the share of state in the centrally sponsored scheme. Like for example, 90-10 is there, 60-40 is there, and 50-50 is there in some extent in some schemes. So government is central government is decreasing its share, and it is increasing the share of state government. For example, one agriculture related scheme is there, like if I am not wrong, it is Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. So in that Fasal Bima Yojana, the central government decreases its share and state government has to give more share. It was in the current affair. So government is doing this thing, so it is creating the burden on the state, and indirectly we can say that fiscal federalism is under threat to some extent, you can say like that. Okay, apart from that, what we have witnessing, like for example, 15th Finance Commission, the term of reference was like that. For example, the term of reference was it was explicitly saying that for example, it was one of the idea that New India should be New India is something that the Finance Commission should keep in mind, the need of New India. So that basically critics were of the view that government is saying that focus on the central government, something like that. You can talk like that itself. Apart from that, GST, one thing is the GST formulation itself. When it comes to GST, many taxes of state were subsumed in GST, and that's why that is the problem. Apart from that, the compensation, GST compensation delay was something that is the another issue in its entirety. So that is also the issue. Apart from that, imposition of demonetization without adequate consultation with the state, this was the another you can mention. Apart from that, GST we have covered already. Similarly, we have the different issues like statutory functions under the smart city mission. So outsourcing of the functions under smart city mission. So when it comes to smart city mission, what are the functions in a smart city? So functions are like related to drinking water, sanitation, etc., and building houses, etc. But these aspects are the state subjects. So when it comes to the outsourcing of the functions of a smart city to the special purpose vehicle, etc., it is against the idea of federalism to some extent. Or to be more precise, it is against the idea of fiscal federalism. Similarly, the ideas like one ration, one ration card. So that is also against this thing, because we have the other, you can say, laws, etc. And apart from that, there are different laws. So let me just show this thing to you. So here we have different laws. For example, the farm laws were there, Banking Regulation Act was there, and similarly government of NCT, Marine Fisheries, dam safety bill, draft electricity. So this can be one of the point, like different laws are there that are against the idea of federalism. This is one major point that you can write. Okay, this is the one subtopic or in itself. Okay, like draft blue economy policy, draft this electricity, etc. So you can mention it. Similarly, if you try to understand one major point, another point here, when it comes to taxation, the issue is with cess and surcharge. Okay, so again, cess and surcharge is something where government of states do not get anything, and that's why this is against the idea of fiscal federalism. And if you try to analyze the data as well, here what you will find that in 2021 the you can say share in the total contribution of the petroleum sector in the exchequer was 68% for the center and left only 32% in the state. So you can say that yes, in petrol also, because of this cess and surcharge, etc., because of the initiative like agriculture, infrastructure and development, cess, etc., what is happening, that government of India is getting more share as compared to the state governments, and this is the problem insofar as the taxation is concerned. This is the another point. Apart from these 4-5 points, you can also mention this taxation point. The another point is non-taxation point. So when it comes to non-taxation, so as you can see that tax is something where government is not getting anything, the state is not getting anything, so that's why they focus on the cash starved. So here you can see cash starved state have been seeking the non-tax revenues. Okay, so but what is happening, that here again there is a catch. So when it comes to non-tax revenues, like let's say CM disaster relief fund, let's say funding, outsourcing, like let's say crowdfunding, etc. So CM disaster relief fund, but again government of India came up with this clarification that the funding or the funding in this CM disaster relief fund will not be considered as a CSR expenditure, unlike PM CARES. So PM CARES funding is considered as the CSR expenditure. So here what is happening, that there is an incentive for the corporate sector to contribute in the PM CARES, but here for when it comes to contribution to CM disaster relief fund, this is not considered as the CSR expenditure. So again there is no incentive for the corporate sector to give the funding. So again non-tax revenue is something that can be that will face the problem for sure. So again this is against the idea of fiscal federalism to some extent. So taxation measures, non-taxation revenues are affected. Similarly we have covered 4-5 early points, and then MP led is something that you can mention as the fodder material or the fodder point. So all these things are basically suggesting that fiscal federalism is facing the problems. Okay, apart from that there can be some solution is all about the you can say, because we are democracy, so in democracy bullet should not be there, ballot should be there, and information is oxygen, discussion is something that should be promoted, and that's why the solution is this only, that the state government should, all the states should come together irrespective of the political party, political ideology, and this should basically the principled federalism should be the core. What is principled federalism? Principled federalism is something where the federalism is not based on the benefits or disadvantages and advantages. It should be like as a principle, as a for example like ethics is something that does not depend on whether it is helping you or not, whether it is in your favor or not. Ethics is something that should always be there, universal. Similarly universal sort of federalism should be there. All the political parties, all the states should come together, and there should be a discussion with respect to these issues, and so that we can make better lives for the citizen, and it can be possible only when all the states and central government should focus, and they should come together insofar as the federalism is concerned, because federalism is something that should play an important role insofar as the institutional mechanism of the democracy is concerned. So federal flexibility or lack of it is going to play a crucial role in shaping the future of our democracy. This is how you have to conclude. This is it. I hope you are getting. Apart from that, there is another article